In the really fast-moving world of cryptocurrency, the potential for big returns is always grabbing headlines.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We've got our eyes on Ethereum.
Right. Specifically, its recent performance. We're basing this deep dive on a report that just came out, right?
Yeah, from the Navparat Times, published yesterday, May 11th, 2025. And the headline, well, it kind of says it all.
What does this say?
It's in Hindi, but basically translates to 35% return in 7 days. World's second most expensive cryptocurrency rockets know how far Bitcoin is left behind.
Wow, okay, 35% in 7 days. That definitely catches the eye.
It really does. So the core question for you listening is, what's driving the surge for Ethereum, and, how does it stack up against Bitcoin right now?
Exactly. So our mission here is to unpack those factors, understand this Ethereum jump without getting, too lost in the weeds. Let's start with those returns, 35%.
Yeah, 35% in just 7 days for Ethereum. The report gives specific numbers. So, on April 4th, 2025, around 1 p.m., the price was about $1,840.
$1,840, got it.
Then you fast forward exactly 1 week, May 11th, same time, 1 p.m.
And the price?
It had jumped to approximately $2,495.
Whoa, that's a significant climb. Almost $650 in a week.
It's a huge percentage increase, roughly 35%, like the headline said. You don't see that every day, even in crypto, for an asset this big.
No, you really don't. It makes you ask, what happened that week? The report doesn't say exactly why, though, does it?
Not explicitly, no. It focuses more on what the price movement itself, but the sheer size of the jump is, well, it's the story here.
Okay, so that's Ethereum's story for the week. But the headline also mentioned Bitcoin. How did it compare over that same 7-day stretch?
Right, the comparison is pretty interesting. Bitcoin also saw gains, but nothing like Ethereum's.
Okay.
The report says Bitcoin's return was a little over 8%.
So let's go over 8%, okay.
Yeah.
So still positive, but yeah, way behind Ethereum's 35%.
Exactly. On that same Sunday, May 11th, Bitcoin's price was hovering around $103,647.
$103,000. Still the king in terms of overall price, obviously, but that short-term return difference is stark.
It really is. 35% versus, say, 8-point-something%. It highlights just how dynamic things can be. Different cryptos, different stories, even week to week.
Yeah, absolutely. And the article also reminds us where Ethereum sits in the grand scheme of things.
It confirms Ethereum is still the world's second most expensive cryptocurrency.
Right.
It's priced now more than $2,400, as the report puts it. And interestingly, it also mentions Ethereum is the second most trending crypto.
Ah, trending. So a lot of current buzz, a lot of attention maybe.
Seems like it. High price, high rank, and also high current interest from the market. That combination, it could definitely play a role in price movements like this.
Makes sense. So value plus momentum, perhaps. But the report doesn't just hype Ethereum, does it? Give some perspective on Bitcoin too.
It does, yeah. It offers a bit of balance. Even though Bitcoin lagged behind in that specific week, the article describes it as a reliable crypto. That's the term used.
Reliable. So more about the long game for Bitcoin.
Kind of suggests that, yes, it backs this up by mentioning Bitcoin's 1-year return.
Oh, what was that?
Approximately 70%.
Okay, 70% over a year, that's definitely solid. So it provides important context, doesn't it? Short-term surge for one, long-term reliability perhaps for the other.
Precisely. It's a good reminder for you listening that, weekly performance isn't the whole picture. Different assets, different profiles.
Right. It's like comparing apples and oranges sometimes, or maybe different stages of growth.
Yeah.
High flyer versus the steady performer.
That's a fair analogy. And there's one more little piece of context, maybe less direct, but interesting.
What's that?
Well, right near this Ethereum article, there was another piece mentioned in the outline about Bitcoin's price reacting to an attack on Pakistan.
Ah, okay. So geopolitical events potentially impacting crypto prices.
Yeah. The report doesn't explicitly link that event to Ethereum's 35% jump, let's be clear. But its presence nearby just sort of subtly underscores that these markets can be sensitive to bigger world events.
Right. It reminds you that crypto doesn't operate in, a total vacuum. External factors can definitely ripple through.
Exactly. So while we don't have the specific trigger for Ethereum's big week laid out in this particular source, we see the big outperformance, and we get hints of the wider context.
Okay, so let's try and boil this down. If you're listening, what are the main takeaways from this Navparat Times piece?
I'd say number one, Ethereum had a massive week, a 35% return in just 7 days. That's huge.
Definitely the headline grabber.
Number two, Bitcoin also gained, but much less, just over 8%, highlighting that divergence. Number three, Ethereum is confirmed as number 2 by price and also number 2 trending, suggesting high current interest. And finally, number 4. Despite the slower week, Bitcoin is still viewed as, quote, reliable for longer-term returns, with that strong 70% one-year figure as evidence.
Right, so a snapshot of a really dynamic moment, especially for Ethereum, but with that longer-term context for Bitcoin. That 35% figure for Ethereum, though, it really sticks with you.
It does. It shows the potential and, also the volatility inherent in this space. Bitcoin's more modest gain and longer-term return offer that important counterpoint.
Which leads us to the big question, really, for you to ponder.
Exactly. What does this short-term explosion in Ethereum's value, particularly outpacing Bitcoin so dramatically, tell us about how the crypto landscape might be shifting?
Like, where is investor attention moving? What could be driving these sudden momentum shifts between the big players?
Yeah, what factors, maybe tech updates, maybe sentiment, maybe something else entirely could cause such a rapid change? It's definitely something to keep watching.
Absolutely. This market never sleeps, and it's always fascinating to track these developments. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Always interesting stuff. We'll be back soon to unpack whatever happens next.